Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the Ladies Garden and Home. It's the middle of March and I've removed all of the frost cloth and plastic coverings that I used to overwinter my vegetables, and I thought it would be a great time to take you on a March tour of the garden. So I hope you join us. So starting over here like I normally do, this is where I had the eggplant and the carrots last year, and I put a row cover down that I'm not sure if this is the row cover or if it's just a bunch of weeds that are growing, but I'm going to have to clear that out. What overwintered is we see the garlic popping up. You'll have to excuse the noise. They're having a birthday party a couple of houses down. Some of the leeks made it. And we still have a couple of carrots over here. Coming around this side, I had this Swiss chard undercover, and that made it. And interestingly enough, this Swiss chard is actually on its third year now. More garlic. The echinacea hasn't started coming back yet. Oh, yes it has, over here. It's starting to sprout up again. The lavender made it through the winter like champs. Coming around to this bed, we have a mass of weeds that grew underneath the plastic covering. But when I pull those weeds, you can see here, this looks like something I planted. I think this was a Brussels sprout. We've got turnips over here. And the star of this winter show has been this broccoli rabe. It's starting to head up and sprout. Going to be eating it soon. But they did very, very well. Also, I'm very glad to say that some of the celery that had self-seeded last year, after it flowered, made it through the winter. This is a much older plant, so this I'm going to pull. That didn't make it, and this one didn't make it either. They were past their prime. I see some carrots in here too. This Brussels sprout did not do too well, but maybe it'll make a comeback. I think this is a leek that self-seeded itself. Still have a couple of carrots, just a few. I actually harvested carrots all winter long. Where I had my three sisters' garden last year, the corn, the squash, and the green beans. I did not clear it out. I left everything in, and so I'm going to have to prep this bed soon, but nothing overwintered in here. In these grow bags, we had some broccoli make it. And I think that's broccoli rabe too. This, I forget if this is just a regular broccoli. I'm going to have to find the tag in here someplace. see, what was this? Nope, this is broccoli rabe. So then what is this? DeChico broccoli. Okay, well this made it. The DeChico broccoli, the broccoli rabe. And what is this? Is this a Brussels sprout? Ooh, a Brussels sprout made it. So this must be some sort of sprouting broccoli as opposed to one that heads up, but that's okay. We'll be eating off of that. But as you can see, where I had the cauliflower, that did not make it. What made it was a bunch of weeds. And these kind of weeds seem to really like the garden, and I'm going to have to get them out of here, cleaned up, before they start flowering. Coming around here, if you remember, I had cabbage in here that was eaten by an animal. But the garlic that I planted, that's coming up. If you remember, what I did last year in the fall was I planted the garlic a lot later than I normally do. I planted it, I guess, the middle of November because I was trying to make sure that the roots got established through the winter and it didn't put energy into sprouting until the spring. So that's what happened, although a lot of these garlic did start coming up towards the end of January. So they come up when they're ready. And over here, amidst all of the weeds, we have a couple of radishes. I don't know if they'll be good to eat. They've been in the ground so long. All right. Hey, nice. And here is rutabaga, or as the English call it, Swedes. And I wonder if the Swedes call it English. I don't know. Over here is more garlic. And there are some sprouting green calabrese that looks tiny, but it made it through. And I did have this, I had the rutabaga and radishes, and I had this row here under frost cloth, not plastic. The same actually with the broccoli and cauliflower over there. In this bed, that was tomato row last summer, I put in garlic. As you can see, I'm trying to plant the garlic this year on the perimeters of the different beds because my understanding is a lot of pests don't like the smell of garlic. So I'm hoping to try to fool them. But I did have some carrots left over from when I planted them last summer. And the only thing that I overwintered in this side of the bed here was this tiny little broccoli rabe. I just popped in, I had an extra one, and that made it through too. And this yucky looking mess are white pumpkins that I put out. I put it out to feed the squirrels, and as you can see, it looks like somebody's been at them. But also just to see if the pumpkin seeds would self-seed themselves and just kind of grow on their own. This is where the artichoke was last year, and I got so excited when I saw some green in here, but that looks like the weeds. I used Lady's cone of shame from her last surgery as what I thought would work as a mini cloche. Up here on the deck, the only thing in the green stalk that survived is the sage plant. Actually, there's another sage plant that made it here. The strawberries overwintered fine. Sometime made it. These chives loved it. The random pine tree seedlings made it. In here we have catnip, oregano, that made it. And more thyme, more catnip, and another little sage plant made it. I've really got to get going on prepping the garden beds outside because the onions, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the cabbage, the spinach, the lettuce, the cool season herbs like cilantro, dill, and parsley, the sweet peas, the potatoes, they're all going to be ready to go out within the next 2 weeks. So that means that I have to have their new beds, their new places to live ready for them. Well, that's it. Lady, we got a lot of cleanup to do. Yeah, a lot of cleanup to do. But considering how low the temperatures got, that plunged us into the range of a zone way lower than ours, I'm actually kind of happy about what's made it through. Anyway, have you started your garden cleanup? Probably. Have you started planting already? Probably. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm normal or not. But honestly, the best thing you can do is just keep an eye out on the temperatures at night. And, you know, if you put out your seedlings and it is going to dip below freezing for a couple of hours at night, just throw something over them. If you don't have the frost cloths or the plastic, you could use a blanket or a sheet and keep them going that way. So I'm going to start planting out within the next 2 weeks or so, especially since I've noticed in the next couple of weeks we're not going to have temperatures that are going to dip below freezing. So that's good. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. We hope you subscribe and join our growing community and hit the alert bell because I'm going to be coming out with a bunch more videos this spring. And from the Ladies Garden and Home, enjoy your gardening journey. Bye!